Any account.
Okay, now I am allowing everybody to in. Please, we can start from here. Okay.
I'm not able to open my video.
We are not
Yes,
able
sir,
to
it's
switch on the
saying
videos.
that the host has stopped it.
Yeah, it is disabled it.
काम बढ़िया कर रखा है, थोड़ा खूब लगा दी। फंसा नहीं, फंसा तो नहीं है। ना कमाता है।
Okay, you can start your video. Please check.
रुक जाता है, रुक जाता है।
Now
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
Okay, now Asma, are you able to view the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm allowing everybody, and we can start from here. Okay.
Okay, sir. Knowledge is a rare thing. You gain by giving it away. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the event of ANAMAC to launch IBMJ platform to publish articles and research papers. Today's agenda includes
Return वापस। Back to it.
और माल तो कोई नहीं है सर। मेरे क्या पड़ता है? इसमें एक काम करो आप,
He's coming.
जो इस गाड़ी में नो वाले डाल दो आप। मतलब
Yes,
लंबे
sir.
नक्के के और
Today's agenda, it includes introduction to advisory board and editorial board, curtain raiser IBMJ, walkthrough on IBMJ, then tentative analysis workshop, Q&A session. This is our advisor panel. I introduce Mr. Govind Sharma, ex-NRDC chief, Mr. Jitendra Kumar, IIT Delhi, Director FET Solutions, Ms. Abhilasha Gupta, Director ANAMAC, Dr. Madhav Chawad, Director Advanced Analysis, Australia, and Dr. Amit Bhandari, HOD IINMAS, DRDO. I request Mr. Govind Sharma to share some words of wisdom.
Govind sir, you.
Yes.
हाँ आप सुनिए सर।
Hello.
जो
Hello. ये बंद करना। ये बंद कर देना। विंडो बंद करके एसी चला।
Govind sir, you are.
वो 8 इंच लंबा नक्का है।
Hello. Yes, please.
Govind sir.
वो तो हो गया।
Govind sir, are you
Yes.
able to
Can you
hear
hear
us?
me?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, we would like to ask you for few words, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, friends. It's a great pleasure to have been asked here to celebrate the launch of the IBMJ. Firstly, I want to acknowledge Abhilasha, Director, NMAC. I'm sure this is a really exciting day for her. I congratulate Abhilasha and the team for launching IBMJ and hope the concept delivers the expected result. Any initiative to improve communication through the secure collection, storage, and transfer of information be welcome. I hope IBMJ shall provide a fantastic opportunity for the researchers to express themselves, to demonstrate their capabilities, and to publish their research findings. I wish the IBMJ every success to be well read and well cited, to attract much academic attention, and to become not only a center for exchange of ideas, but to generate new ideas for societal benefits. Thank you very much for inviting me to join your today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I introduce Mr. Jitendra Kumar, sir, to speak some words.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And to start with, many happy returns of the day, Abhilasha.
Thank you.
Sir, if you can also switch on your video, it will be good for us.
So sorry, video has got some issues, so I'm not doing that.
Okay, no issue.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that this is a really wonderful day to start off IBMJ, and I feel proud as well as humbled to be associated with it. And thanks to the IBMJ team for providing me that possibility. At the same time, there had been a lot of instances where I've seen many people talking about a lot of good ideas, thinking about a lot of good stuff. And I'm sure you must have seen Three Idiots also. There, you had some of the brilliant ideas which were not really coming out so well. So I hope that this platform gives at least some of them the outlet to really take it off and help in the overall scenario in the later days. So all the best, IBMJ. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. Madhav to share his thoughts.
Hi, Madad, you can, you are on mute, please. Yeah, Asma, I think Madad is having some issues, so you can just brief out about Madad.
Atul,
Dr.
he's
Madhav
already,
Abdul Jawad.
Asma, sorry to interrupt you. He's already there. He's waiting to get inside.
Okay, okay.
He's inside, he has joined. I am just allowing him to unmute himself. He has joined, Madad is there.
Okay.
I hope we'll be able to listen him soon. Okay, so maybe we can continue and we'll wait till the moment he will come back.
Yeah, so we can move ahead, or?
Yeah, we can, I guess, because not letting me unmute. I got the message from Madhav.
Okay.
So he's there, but he's not able to speak.
I'm just allowing him to.
Maybe we can move forward and meanwhile you can get connected.
Yeah, so we are on Dr. Amit.
Yes, sir. I request Dr. Amit Bhandari, sir, to speak some words.
Yeah, good afternoon all. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I must congratulate Dr. Abhilasha for this wonderful new beginning. And we have worked together for one of our projects, and we have had a wonderful experience. I'm sure she's going to continue here with all this concept of IBMJ. I'm sure that we'll all follow the good ethical principles while submitting our articles, and the journal will have a keen interest to see how the articles are scrutinized ethically, and the data which is uploaded and published is always looked upon by the readers as a valuable data which can add to valuable research. I wish you all the best, and all the best to the team. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Now I request Ms. Abhilasha Gupta to throw some light on the topic. Ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Basically, research is one aspect which often got flagged in our country, but this is relatively low, I would like to say. Number of publication and citation are comparatively less in our country than the developing countries. So somewhere the culture of research is largely missing by our institutions. What I personally feel is one common requirement is to develop the requirement and develop the research culture in our country. That is something which I feel is very much important, and is to more from the only from the few isolated individual researcher project. It should be into the environment of overall country. So where research is extensive, that is appear to be an active activity of the large number of interconnected colleagues, I would say. And I think this platform of journal publication is a step towards this direction, helping to move ahead our institution to get empowered in the research. And one word which I would like to say at the end is vocal for local. So unless and until we'll be developing the culture of research in our country, it will be tough to move ahead. So I find myself fortunate enough to be a part of this IBM journal, and we are having this idea. So just need your support to just move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, I would like to introduce our editor panel, which includes Dr. Rajesh Sethuraman sir, MDS Prosthodontist, HOD KM Shah, Dr. Sridhar Kannan, MDS KGMC SRDC Faridabad, Dr. Reshu Madan, Associate Professor SGT University, Dr. Anand Kumar G. Patil, MDS Prosthodontics, HOD KM Belagavi, Dr. Amit Garg, Associate Professor, Electrical Computer Sciences, Chandigarh University. I would request Dr. Rajesh Sethuraman sir to speak some words.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Asma. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Right. 210921. It's a very beautiful number, right? And I really congratulate Animac for having chosen a wonderful a day. Of course, birthday greetings to the birthday girl, Ms. Abhilasha, who's the director of Animac. And it's really nice that you got a lot of dentists, especially restorative dentists, prosthodontists, implantologists, all of them together under one banner. It's very difficult to get all of them together. They are really busy guys. And if they have come together today, which means that Animac means a lot for them. At least that is how we feel. Because I've been working with a large number of people who do FEM researchers. We have a number of our students who have worked with FEM. I myself have my FEM project, which was my dissertation topic. And that's how I got interested into dental biomechanics. Going through how exactly we did work about it, it was quite an accident, actually. I'll just give you the entire story of how it was. When we were working at Nagpur during my postgraduate days, when my guide actually told me that why don't you go out with photoelasticity, and FEM was relatively new in 2000s. And I said, why not FEM, sir? Do you have somebody who will do it for you? I told, let's try it if at all. And to parallel it, I also had an in vitro clubbed along with it. So I really did an in vitro study also and an FEM study also. The FEM was what I wanted, but then the guys with whom I was working were not able to crack it, but they did their level best at that point of time. So therefore I went ahead with my in vitro, and my results of in vitro were ready. And one fine Saturday morning, I get a call from my FEM guys who said that they have been able to do it. It was 2D at that point of time. And I was like, bhai, up to I have already finished with my in vitro, but let me give it a try. Let me come and see. I went down to the engineering building. And when I did see the results that the FEM analysis gave were so specific, were so precise, that was exactly where my models in the in vitro, where the fracture actually occurred. So it was actually an accident for me, because it's usually the other way around. People do an FEM and then they may go about with that of in vitro or in situ or in vivo later on. For me, I did the reverse back, and I found that actually put in a lot of belief that yes, FEM does work. And today, yes, of course, I do a lot. I work a lot with the FEM people all around India. But to be very frank, Animac has done, it's carved an IK for itself. All congratulations to the team led by the director. And to come out with a journal, especially to share out research, is a wonderful idea. All congratulations, and we feel equally proud to be a part of the editorial board. We will do as much as possible so that ethical research, research that doesn't have plagiarism and which is genuine, comes out with all the helps of all people who really are. It's a very wonderful conglomeration of all good minds, all research minds in dentistry who've been brought together, and I hope so many more will join. So congratulations on this wonderful day. Hoping for the best that IBMJ works a lot. It goes to scales very larger heights. Thank you for the opportunity. Over to you, Asma.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. Now I would request Dr. Sridhar Kannan to share some words.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful listening to you, Rajesh, and a wonderful, interesting, very interesting story. I think all of us have our little interesting stories about FEM. And I think primarily the reason is it's not taught in our dentistry curriculum at all. And it's like an alien language for us. But I think my association personally with ANAMAC and Abhilasha ji has been wonderful with the kind of research we've done. And I think it's still a very long learning curve for all of us as dentists to understand this powerful tool, which can definitely, enhance research in a different dimension, a biomechanical dimension. And it's great to have a journal, dedicated to such kind of research. And if we as dentists with different specialities, pool in our resources and our research, it will create a very good database for the future generation and future studies, because I think the scope is endless. I mean, if you just think of one simple implant, you can have like 100, 200 studies just around that implant. So it's a very, very good initiative, obviously on a very auspicious day, which happens to be Abhilasha ji's birthday. So very, very warm birthday greetings from Delhi. Warm and humid birthday greetings, I would say. And I really wish all the best to your team. And I hope we all in our parts can do some justice to the larger picture. And that is, to get good research out, good credible research out, and, think out of the box and do things which, haven't been done before. And if it's an international platform, all the better, because people around the world can also realize and see that, we are doing really good stuff here. As you rightly said, we do not publish maybe all our research, and some of them are not cited also. So a lot of our research just goes unnoticed. So I think we as section editors or whatever the title we have, we must encourage the different students and different colleges, to come forward and publish, because unless you publish, people won't come to know what's happening. So very good initiative. Congratulations. And I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. Anand Kumar Ji Patil, sir, to share his thoughts.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, ANAMAC, and thanks to Director Abhilasha Madam for giving an opportunity to be part of the editorial board of IBMJ Journal. So, as you all already sir said, Rajesh sir and the other eminent speakers and researchers they already mentioned, so this ANAMAC is giving a really good platform for all the researchers to work on this FEA analysis and FEM study. And earlier the questions were raised whether this FEM analysis, is it a valid, the results of this FEM or FER, are they valid? And can they be considered for the in vitro or in vivo studies? And I think already Rajesh sir has mentioned, so the results are surely valid and they're correlating with the in vitro and in vivo studies as well. So I recommend that before you can plan some in vitro studies of the biomechanical devices which are most widely used in dental or medical field, I think first initially they should be subjected to this FEA analysis. So once your design is satisfactory, then you can go ahead or plan the clinical studies. So I definitely recommend all the researchers, and since this platform is giving the combination of all the specialists from variety of fields, so I request all the students to make use of this platform and come up with more and more research in the field of this FEA. And the NMAC is one good platform where earlier when I wanted to study myself for this FNS, there was no real research platform that was available to do the study. But after I come in contact with this NMAC, this platform is really good, so that it gives a platform for researchers to do and at a concessional rate. So and even this, they're coming up with their own journal. So it is really good that students need not have to search for other journals for their publication of their research items. So they can go ahead with the same journal. So that will be good point. So all of you can make use of it. And once again, I congratulate the NMAC for coming up with this new innovative idea. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. Thank you so much. Now I request Dr. Reshu Madan to throw some light on the topic.
Hi, good afternoon. Very good afternoon to the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me actually to be sharing this platform with such prominent researchers who are, experts in this field and have been working for so long. From the time Abhilasha told me about the International Biomechanical Journal, I've been very, very excited and look forward to being a contributor in the working of this journal. Also, I also have a small bit of story with my association. My association with Abhilasha ji and Atul ji has been for over a year now. And believe me, it's been a learning journey for me all through. Also, thanks to her support, we've been able to have a collaboration with the Dean of Biomechanics at the University of Edinburgh, Dr. Pankaj, and it's been like a cherry on the cake. So I wish Team NMAC all the best for their endeavors and thank them wholeheartedly for this opportunity. Congratulations and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Amit Garg to share his thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, all. First of all, I want to extend my warm welcome to the platform for interdisciplinary fraternity, where multiple disciplines are amalgamated with one another and resulting to what we call an innovative research development. Recently, the entire world has faced a very challenging time, which is never seen before, COVID-19 pandemic. And we have seen that now we are in recovering state with the combined effort of the researchers and the scientists. It is not a matter of fact that which team they belong to, but they all from a team named Corona Warriors. We all must proud of them. Today, in the launching of IBMJ, I am feeling privileged to attend this Scienticity and the Multidisciplinary Research Platform. I extend my best wishes to all members of Advisory Committee, Editorial Board, the development team, and the staff members for their collaborative efforts and making it possible. From where I am sitting, it is a treat for multidisciplinary researchers where the domains are not constraints, but they can contribute differently in the different verticals. At the last, I'll just say boom, boom, and want to encourage more and more researchers to be a part of it and enjoy new advent of innovative research development. And with all this, I want to thank you and giving me opportunity. And Abhilasha ji, wish you happy birthday again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Asma, can you just read out for Dr. Madad?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Issues. So I'm just bringing his slide. So please, yeah, if you can.
Dr. Madad Abdul Jawad. He's a mechanical engineer, director, Advanced Analysis, Australia. Dr. Madad is a recognized fluid dynamics expert specializing in shockwaves and explosions with over 15 years as an engineering consultant and researcher. He currently leads Advanced Analysis Australia, which is well known for the CFD analysis, fire and explosion, gas dispersion, and gas detection studies for offshore facilities, including fixed platforms, FPSOs, and FLNGs, and onshore plants worldwide. His client list includes nearly all the major oil and gas operators, as well as the largest engineering houses. He also leads product development for several software products.
Thanks, Asma. So now you can hand over to...
Yes, sir. I would hand over to Mr. Santosh, who will give a walkthrough on IBMJ.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Asma. It's my honor to present IBMJ to all of the researchers. So to begin with, okay, so this is the page what you will be seeing in when you click on ibmjournals.com, and you can start by clicking on the registering yourself, then you can register yourself. Then you can go ahead and submit the journal. So this we will take it in a next slide. What all the things we will be covering it, and how do we submit a journal? Along with that, what are the different steps that is involved about the author side or the reviewer side, and how the journals is published. So those things will be taken in the next couple of slides. So can you just move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. So in this page, okay, so once the user or the author clicks on the register, so it will be taken to the new screen to create an account. So where he will be keying in the personal information. After that, there will be an institutional related information. So after that, once he clicks on the submit button, so he will be getting a message saying, okay, so thanks for signing up, and this account has to be reviewed and it has to be approved. So this is we are putting a one check, because we don't want to give control to anybody who wants to register themselves and they can put some unnecessary document or the research journals. So whatever the effort you are putting in, we want to make sure all your efforts are captured and all are valid and stored properly. So once this is done, so you will be, can you just move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. So once you submit it, okay, so you will be getting an email saying, okay, so your registration is confirmed, and once the approval is done from the admin side, you will be taken to, you can log into the IBMJ account. So can you just move on to next slide? So then user or the author has to wait till it gets approved. So this approval will be takes minimum 1 or 2 days, and this will be done by the admin. Once this particular user or the author is get approved, again user or the author will get an email confirming that, okay, so your account is approved and you can now log in. Along with that, on the bottom side of the mail, it gives you the documentation part, which talks about, okay, so what are the different process that is involved, as well as the documents mentioning, okay, so which are the different steps that are involved and how to go ahead with that. So once it is done, the user can come back to the IBMJ homepage and they can click on the login button. So this is just a video which talks about, okay, so what all the different, once the user or the author logs in, so what are the different options he will see it now. So this is just an, for our reference purpose, so we are using one user ID, okay, so you have to key in your user ID or the email, and then you have to key in your password. So once you log in, so this will be the home screen for the author. So where you can see on the left side, you can see there are different process color codes. So which talks about, okay, so the white color means it is yet to start, and orange color means it is in progress, and completed means it will be in a green color. So that will be represented on the left side of the page. Okay, and on the top side, you can see there is something called as a download review process. So whoever logs in, so they can download what is the different review process, what we are carrying out, and they can download the template also. Let's say if someone is submitting a journal, so for anybody to submit a journal, they can download the document. There is a particular template which we are assigning it, and from that template, you have to key in all the details, and then you can proceed further with that. So can you just play it, sir? So then comes the there's something called as a new submission, revision, and the completed steps. Okay, so each steps how the things will work on. Okay, so that we will be seeing it now. So this is when someone or the author clicks on the submit journal section. So there will be different fields where the user or the author has to key in. So after keying in all the details, okay, so they can, I'm just giving you some sample data, keying in details. Okay, so what all details they will be keying in. So article type might be dental or the mechanical. So I'm just keeping it as in dental now, as of now. And the section category, the funding information, abstract, so a little bit of overview about the journal. So just a minute. Okay, so I can just, yeah, so the authors, so how many authors are there in that particular journal and their respective email ID and how where they are working, all those details it will be captured. Can you just move a little bit faster, sir? Can you move? Yeah. So then comes the some of the key fields. Oh, okay. So some of the key fields which we marked it as an asterisk. Okay, so those are the mandatory fields where the user or the author has to key in, especially when it comes to the keywords. So these keywords will be used for when someone searches a journal. So that is why if someone is submitting a journal, so please make sure the keywords are entered whatever they are looking for. Okay. So once it is submitted, the status will be get changed. Can you just move back one slide back, sir? Yeah. Okay. So next slide, sir, please. Yeah. So then you will get an okay, so then you will get an email confirmation saying, okay, so thank you for submitting a journal, and which talks about which gives you the manuscript number or the journal number. So that is what the author will be doing from the day one after logging in. So once the journal is submitted, his job will be done. It will be moved to the different section now. So that will be, you can see on the left side, it says the journal is submitted. And now on the right side in the new submission, you can see assigning reviewer in progress. So this assigning reviewer in progress will be taken care by the admin people. So once the admin assigns the reviewer, so the status gets changed, and again the author will get an email saying, okay, so the reviewer is been assigned for the respective manuscript number. So once that is done, again, the if let's say the reviewer gives some, he reviews the document or the journal, and then he gives the comments on top of that. So after that, the reviewer, the author will get an. Sir, can you just move back to one slide, please? Yeah. Okay. So. So here in the revision section, the journal reviewer comments. So the reviewer comments whatever the reviewer is giving for that particular journal. So that particular information can be seen in the revision comments. So then based upon the comments, whatever the reviewer has given it, the author can modify it, modify the journal, and he or she can add their own comments in the respective add comments column. And then he or she can upload the modified document. Okay, so after uploading the document, they can submit a journal. So once this particular process completes, let's say the reviewer is satisfied with the comments, whatever the author has given it, and he's satisfied with the journal documents, everything. So then he can approve the journal. So once it gets approved, can you just move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So next slide, please. Okay. So now the review, if the reviewer is satisfied with all the review comments, he will approve the journal. So once the journal is approved, you can see all the new submission section and the revision sections will be disabled, and only the completed section manuscript approved is enabled. So then can you just move on to the next slide, please? So then he can see that, okay, so once the manuscript is approved by the approver, so it will be taken to the next level, which is nothing but it will be published. So till now, whatever you have seen is only the documentation, what we were dealing with from reviewer to the author back and forth. So once everything gets completed, the journal will be published in a PDF format. And that PDF format, once it is published, it can be downloaded from the website itself. So yeah, can you just click on the next slide, please? Yeah, I think this is what the complete picture about the IBMJ. And if you have any questions, we will take it at the end of our session. And over to you, Dr. Asma.
Yeah, so now we can hand over to Abhilasha ma'am. So Abhilasha ma'am, we are moving to the dental FEM analysis part.
Hi, I'm back again. So today's agenda is to launch the IBMJ as well as the dental FEM workshop. Over here, we will be able to explore.
Ma'am, your video is off. Can you switch on your video, please?
Yeah, sure. So basically, today's agenda is regarding this workshop as well, along with the IBMJ launch. In this, we will be exploring the different aspect of the biomechanical aspects regarding the dental FEM, especially what all are the mechanical behavior when we do the certain load case as per the clinical practice. Apart from this, what will be the application into the dentistry, and we will be able to explore the better understanding what will be the post-treatment effect on the patient. And I would like to say thank you for each one of you. The reason being, over here in this webinar today, we are having more than 80 colleges who have registered with us to attend this workshop. Thank you very much for this support. And I would like to say thank you for the faculty. I think almost more than 70 faculties have been participated from all over India and abroad. So I'm really thankful to each one of you to taking time for us and from your busy schedule. Thank you very much. Okay, today's agenda would be like as we all know that what is the need of the dental FEM, like how we are able to do the better treatment with the patient for the patient, and how come this FEM comes into the picture for the better treatment, for the better research, and for the better treatment, I would say. So it's a demand of industry indeed. We'll be able to explore the different aspect when we talk about the implant, when we talk about the post-treatment effect, and how much cost effective this study would be for the patient as well as for the doctors as well as for the researcher, so that we can come up with a new research and our patient will get benefited. As you can see over here that we will be able to apply the non-invasive techniques. Apart from this, this will be the, we can simulate any kind of biological condition over here, whether it's a fracture case or whether it's a case for the implant, whether it's, different kind of case we can simulate over here in the FEM. Apart from this, there is no issue regarding repeat this many times. As much as time we want to simulate the conditions, the basic loaded condition or the exact scenario, we can. We are having the freedom for this. Then it is again the less time consuming. And as we can see that we are able to see the use of dental FEM in not only the one field of the dental, this is into being, various domains. Whether we talk about the orthodontist, we talk about the implantology, we talk about restoration. So in every field, we are able to see the effect of dental FEM and the research how they are playing a good part into the treatment. There are some of our prestigious clients from the corporate sector with whom we are working currently. Apart from this, this is the Dental Association with whom we are fortunate enough to work on this dental FEM zone. So I'm really thankful for all being association with us. Now I would like my colleague Baswa to take you from here onwards to explore the dental FEM and it's all the aspect about this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Baswa, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, thanks. I'll share my screen. Can you please make me as a co-host?
Okay.
Well, can you see my screen?
Yeah, Baswa, just also
we can.
Anybody is looking to get into the meeting, please allow him. Okay.
Sure. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining in today. So today I'll be I'm going to give a highlight, or I'm taking you through the process of finite element analysis, like what are the things which are involved, what will be the inputs, what are the standard procedures that we as a mechanical engineers follow, and then what are the outputs that you can expect out of the finite element analysis. Okay. So basically there are 4 aspects. Atul sir, you were telling something?
No, I was just asking you because now you are the host, so allow anybody who is looking to get into the meeting. Okay.
Sure, sir.
We will be having a pop-up, so just admit them.
Okay, done. Thanks. So, as I was telling, there are 4 aspects in typical finite element analysis. So, always the inputs will be in the form of geometry, that is whether it may be 2D or 3D. The actual biomechanical models are obtained from an actual patient's intraoral data, which is obtained from the CBCT and master model scan. So those were converted into actual 3D models in the CAD modeling softwares. So this is an example image that I had put. So the typical geometry will be like this. And then comes the material properties. Material properties in terms of Young's modulus, densities, Poisson's ratio. So these are all the typical material properties that we have to have before we proceed for the analysis. And once we have geometry and material properties, so we have to have proper defined boundary conditions and also the external forces. Okay, so this comprises our typical finite element model, which is comprising of all these 4 areas. And then once we submit the finite element model to the solver, so we get stress, strain, and deformation, other results. Okay. I had put a detailed workflow here in this slide. So before I get into that, so virtually every phenomenon in nature, whether biological, geological, or mechanical, can be described with the aid of law of physics in terms of algebraic or differential or integral equations relating to various quantities of interest. So the finite element analysis or finite element method or computer aided engineering, all are the same, is a computer based numerical method to analyze the structure based on the principle of dividing a structure into finite number of small elements that are connected connected with each other at a corner point called as nodes. So for each elements, its mechanical behavior can be written as a function of displacement of the nodes, etc. Okay, these nodes were subjected to certain loading conditions, results in a behavior of the model which is similar to the structure it represents. So when a computer analysis is performed on this, a system of simultaneous equations can be solved to relate all forces displacement uh, of the nodes. Okay, pardon, I mean, kindly bear with me if it is too technical. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So as I was telling, the initial part will be CAD modeling. Then we proceed with the next step, that is pre-processing. Pre-processing is a stage where we carry out meshing, in the sense we divide the larger domain into small number of pieces, small number of parts, where we call it as an elements, and each elements are connected at a common point called nodes. Okay, so then comes to the stage connection, node to node connection or contacts. So if we have a multiple components in a single assembly where we have a tooth, bone, or so for that matter, it's a complete jaw assembly where we have different parts. So those parts has to be interconnected each other, maybe node to node or with contacts that we define. Okay, then comes the boundary conditions, where respective load and constraints will be applied. Okay, typically these are defined by the customer, or as replicating the actual use case scenario or actual real-time scenario. We have to have the boundary conditions and the loads. And then comes the this is a partially automated process where user need not to do anything. Once he prepared his model with all these parameters, he just need to submit the model for the simulation. So the solver will take care, and the outcome will be in terms of pictorial or tabular representation of the stressors, displacement, deformation, all such contour plots. Okay, so going in detail, I have standardized this as a process for the FEA simulation. So CAD model, as I told, we will get that CAD model in the various after processing it from the various steps, like from the CBCT to CAD model. Once we import that in any preprocessor or else commercially available softwares like ANSYS, Abacus, HyperWorks. So those are the commercially available finite element solvers or finite element softwares where you can carry out all these activities. Okay, so preprocessor, say I have taken a simple simple plate. I also put a representational image of a knee joint. So we can create any, there is no constraint in terms of creating a finite element model in any commercial available softwares. So here the model which is not been meshed, not the finite element has not been created. This is a simple geometry where the degrees of freedom will be typically 6, right? 3 translational and 3 rotational degrees of freedom. So here this has not been meshed. Finite element modeling has not been done on this. So we do not know what are the number of points and we don't know the number of equations. Correct? They are infinity in this case. And
Baswa, please
yes,
allow if somebody is looking to admit. Okay. If you're getting any pop-up, like 5 people are waiting in waiting room.
Yes.
So admit all. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So you have to do this again and again. Okay.
Sure. Okay, so this is the model which is subjected to meshing, the pre-processing. So where you can see unmeshed part, right? So this has been meshed, divided into equal number of parts, correct? There are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 number of elements, and the elements are connected at common point called nodes, right? So how many nodes are there? 13 nodes are there, or 13 points are there. So at each point, there will be governing equation will be derived at the back end of the software, and it will try to solve it. Okay, so we will have total number of 78 number of equations for this example. So similarly, for a complex model, there are thousands and lakhs of equations that that are calculated behind. So those are all complex calculations happens. When we say meshing, so we typically use different types of elements. Okay, so there are different types of shapes that we can put in a finite element model. We have 1D elements, 2D elements, 3D elements, and other types of elements like mass, spring, damper, gap, rigid elements. I'll not go in deeper because it is again purely a mechanical subject. So yeah, just for your information. So we have different types of elements where we can use different types of elements to create our finite element model. And also we simply cannot create a finite element model without having a set rule, correct? So each element, each shape should obey certain rules. So for 2D elements, for 3D elements, for 1D elements, we have different industry set standards. These are all the accepted with the elements we create, the mesh we create should be within these allowable limits. Then only we can expect some proper results. Okay. So there are again different quality parameters like aspect ratio, warpage, skewness, Jacobian. One should be aware before, because when you get into the process of doing a finite element simulation, the first thing you do is meshing. But whether you did right mesh or not, that can be validated only by checking the element quality. So then comes the boundary conditions and loading application. So when I'm talking particularly with respect to boundary conditions, so there are 5 types of boundary conditions. Okay, so translational, rotational, cylindrical, symmetrical, and contacts. And many of these boundary conditions may be applicable to your dental applications or may not be. But it is good to know that in finite element, typical finite element analysis, there are 5 types of boundary conditions. Okay, then comes the loading. So your geometry is done, meshing is done, material assignment is done. So then comes the boundary conditions that you have you have constrained your model. You had put the right boundary conditions or translational or rotational or contacts. Okay, then you have to apply the load, correct? So if you there are different types of loads like concentrated load, forces, traction, distributed load, pressure, vacuum. So yeah, some of them are like purely mechanical application wise, like torque, hydrostatic pressure, etc. They are all purely mechanical, but maybe with limiting to dentistry. So we can have a concentrated loads, pressure loads, even some cases torque also we can apply, right? So finite elements solution. So any typical finite element solver or software will have all these capabilities, like starting from linear static analysis, nonlinear dynamic, buckling analysis, thermal simulations, fatigue calculations, optimizations, and maybe CFD is something which may not be at this point in time. I had not seen any studies that are done on CFD basis with respect to dentistry. Crash analysis is something which is really picking up, because in the event of a person who met with an accident, or else boxers who would be punching on the faces of an opponent, what happens to the patient, the protection gears, and also analyzing them, what it the if a person punches on the face of opponent, what happens to him, whether the protection gear works as intended or not. So those kind of studies can be done in crash analysis. So these are all the different capabilities of a software that one can subject. I have considered. Let me check.
Baswa, there are still few people who are outside
Yes.
in the waiting room. Can you please
Yes.
make them in?
Yes.
And kindly unmute the sales person.
Well.
Yeah, Baswa, just admit all. To
yes, sir. I did.
After a couple of minutes, do this. Okay.
Sure. So I have considered a sample example to demonstrate today. I have taken a typical linear static analysis, right? So this is a CAD model where we have the 3D model, which you can see tooth, dentine, denture base, denture tooth, mucosa, alveolar bone, and the PEEK or cobalt, chromium, and titanium framework of removable, partial dentures, that is RPD. So in this study, the question was whether the PEEK framework has similar stress distribution on oral tissue and displacement under masticatory forces as titanium alloy or cobalt chromium alloy remain so it was until this point, so it was unclear. So we just wanted to explore, we wanted to see the difference of the results when we use PEEK, when we use cobalt chromium, and when we use a titanium. So usually along with the CAD model, so as I told, these are all the typical material properties for all different parts. So usually they will be submitted in the form of Young's modulus, which are Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio and density. And also the main important thing which you have to note is consistent, unit consistency. So if your model is in millimeters, your Young's modulus should be in megapascal, then your density should be in tons per mm cube, and your Poisson's ratio, it is a unitless dimension. So basically it has to follow this consistent unit system. Then only the output results will be in the form of Newton per mm square or displacement in mm. So you have to follow this consistency in unit consistency while carrying out any typical simulation. So this is a finite element model that we created for this demo purpose. So there are total, as you can see, there are total number of 92,950 elements we created, and the node count is 157,000, I think. These are the number of nodes and number of elements. That means these many number of equations will be created.
Basma, can you check again some of the people we are waiting?
Okay. So these many number of equations will be created, and the calculation will be done on each nodes. So the average element size we picked is 0.5 mm. So more the finer, more accurate will be the result, but also the solution time or solving time will also be more. So we have to pick a right element size so that our we should not compromise on the result quality, and also we should not end up running the solution for longer hours. Okay, so in this case we have used first order tetra. There are again different types of elements that I told you, 1D, 2D, 3D and all. So within 3D itself there are different types of elements with respect to different solvers. Like if I am using commercially available softwares like ANSYS or Abacus or OptiStruct, Nastran. So these are all the finite element solvers, pretty famous in the industry. So they use different namings for their different types of elements. Okay, so generally speaking, these are all the 3D meshing which we did. So that mesh is called tetra mesh. Okay, yeah, this is loading that this is a loads we applied. So in this case the customer came up with a requirement that the study has to be done on PEEK, titanium and cobalt chromium. Keeping the design as the same, we just wanted to change this material. So and also the loading condition is the 20 Newton vertical force has to be applied and 20 Newton inclined that is inclined at 15 degree. That force has to be applied on these highlighted teeth. And the base has been arrested. The base has been constrained. That means
Baswa, what you can do, you can make me host and I'll do multiple sharing. That will help, in avoiding this. Okay.
Sir, but later I need to grab to show the tool.
Yeah, you can show that tool as well. No issue. I'll make you the presenter. You can share your screen. So just make me host right now.
Sure.
Yeah, so you can continue now.
Yeah. So when it comes to the boundary conditions, so this base has been arrested for all degrees of freedom. So as I told you earlier, so typically there are 6 degrees of freedom, 3 translational and 3 rotational. So in this case, our base is completely fixed. So we are going with an assumption that the base is completely fixed. So yeah, as you can see, this has been fixed. In the first iteration, we have assigned the frame with the peak material and did the simulation by applying the boundary conditions and loads. So these are all the results that we got from the solver. So after solution, so we have to do the post processing where we extract the images, animations, correct? So in this image, you can see this is a total deformation. So the base has been fixed and the load has been applied. So physically, in the physics sense, yeah, it makes sense that, you know, the deformation or deflection will be more at this point because we have applied the load at that location. If we get deflection at any other location, then we need to double check what we made a mistake, correct? So as you can see in the animation, so due to the applied load, you can see the deformation in this pattern. Though the value is really small, this is an exaggerated animation where it has been multiplied or magnified for 1,000 scales or 10,000 scales just to show it to the viewer how exactly the deformation pattern happens. Even if you keep on increasing the load, so the deformation pattern will remain the same, but the deformation value will be, it will change. And this is an overall stress plot where you have a maximum stress of 19.7 MPa, and the location will be highlighted using this max entity. So apart from having a post processing we can do on an entire model, we also have a freedom in finite element software. We can go and pick our choice of component or item where we can go individually and check the results. So in this case, the frame has been analyzed. So we wanted to see the deformation only on the frame, not on the entire assembly. So when we can also plot individual components, as I told. So when we studied, so the maximum displacement, as you can see, the animation at this component is shown here. So similarly, we did analysis for the peak, cobalt, chromium, and titanium. So we did the result comparison. So as you can see, the peak has maximum displacement. It is and also component level also we have compared the stresses, the peak versus cobalt, chromium, and titanium. This is another component. Okay, yeah. Similarly, we can do a comparison like side by side. So I have taken ANSYS software just to show you how the workflow happens. We have our geometry. This is an entire geometry. So we have different components, different parts, right? Okay, and we have different materials. So for each respective component, we have to have different materials. So in this case, we have created all the materials like alveolar, bone cancellors, cortical, cobalt, chromium, PDL, tooth dentin, peak, titanium. So these are all the material properties which we created. When you click on them, you can see what all the details that we have put, like Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio, bulk modulus, and shear modulus will be automatically calculated in the software itself. So geometry is done, material property is done. So the respective material properties will be assigned to that particular component. Then comes to the coordinate system. So typically there will be a global coordinate system, but as a user, we can also create a custom, coordinate system, because as I told you, we wanted to apply a 15-degree inclined force on this teeth, correct? So that's why we created a local coordinate system and we changed the orientation to 15 degrees. So when we apply a force and ask it to follow y-axis, so at an inclined angle, so the force will follow this y-axis. And then comes the contacts. as I discussed in the workflow, we have to we have different components in one single assembly. They have to be connected to each other, or else it will be just lying in a space. So make sure that each components, each parts are connected to each other. So we have to have whether node to node connectivity, or else we have to have a contacts like this. When I click on this single contact, as you can see, this is a red part and this is a blue part, correct? That means there is a contact exists between this and this. So this will be sitting on this. So there will be contact between this. So when we apply load, so that will transmit to subsequent components. We have to make sure that when we apply the forces or deformation, that has to be transformed into subsequent layers. So for that reason, we use contacts. Okay, so I'll just repeat, like geometry is done, material properties are done. If you want to create any custom coordinate system, so that you can do, and contacts we can create. And then comes the next part, that is meshing, right? So we have created the finite element model using the standard meshing practices here. So as you can see, some parts have high density elements and some parts has coarse mesh, because the area of interest is this metal frame. That's why we meshed this metal frame with the finer element, and this component, which is not so important or not comes under the scope of this study, is meshed with the coarse elements. Okay, so as I told before, so you have to have the element size which is not too high, not too low, so that you have to balance between the result accuracy uh, and the solution time. Give me 1 second. Yeah, thanks. So we are done with creation. As I told, we have used the standard meshing approaches in which is available in this ANSYS software. Next is we wanted to do a static structural analysis. So like I said, there are plenty of types of simulations available in any given software. So we wanted to do a static structural analysis on this assembly. So we have fixed boundary condition at the bottom. Then we applied a vertical force, that is a 20 Newton on this teeth, and then the incline 15-degree applied at this teeth, right? So then we did our we have completed all the process which I explained previously, starting from geometry, material creation, contact definition, and assigning the respective material to the respective components, then creating a coordinate system, then creating a mesh, then setting up a boundary condition, then applying the respective loads, and solving. So solution part is like a software action where the software will do its job, like depending on the number of elements and depending on the complexity of the geometry, depending on the loads, it takes certain time. So for this particular model, it took around 30 minutes to solve this problem. So I can request any type of results, like I said, deformation, stresses. In the stresses itself, there are different types of stresses: one Miser stress, maximum principal, minimum principal, right? So there are different types of results. So depending on the user interest, depending on his scope of study, we can request as many results as possible. So now what we are seeing is a total deformation for this applied load. We can also see the animation directly. Okay, you can play and pause, you can export this animation into videos or GIF, so that you can include that in your presentation. So you can rotate the model, you can put it in any orientation. So the solution gives the freedom of analyzing the model in 360 degree. So this is a stress pattern. That was a deformation. In the total deformation, you can also study the directional deformation, like how exactly or how much is the deformation in x-axis or y-axis or z-axis. You can also study that along with the deformation. So I have extracted the stresses, so you can see the different stress values at different locations. So the maximum stress has been highlighted with the max tag, right? Now, apart from plotting, apart from contouring the results on the entire domain, we can also do it on individual parts, as I told. So I have used the frame on the other part, the bone part, so we can extract it. We can extract even maximum principal, minimum principal, the deformation on each individual components. Correct. And also this software gives a freedom to look inside. Like I can take a section cuts, I can go inside and look like what happens. Okay, I can take a cross section, I can look inside. So where exactly which component is getting maximum stress, how is the stress distribution, whether the stress is distributing to the consequent subsequent parts or not. So we can review this way. Right. Yes, sir. Yeah, this sums up like this is a typical workflow and demonstration of typical finite element analysis. Over to you. Thanks.
I would like to ask if any one of you is having a question from your side, you are most welcome to.
Yeah, so there is one question from Dr. Morgan. How to determine the degree of freedom? Can we simulate biological material properties?
Absolutely, we can simulate any biological material. The only thing we need to take care is the material properties, the proper material definition that we have to have. So if we don't have any material properties, so we have to get it tested in the lab, where they will give us the Young's modulus or Poisson's ratio or density of that particular material. So then we can simulate the actual models in the finite element software. But typically the degrees of freedom are 6. Okay, 6 degrees of freedom are there. As I told, 3 translational and 3 rotational. That is science. We have 6 degrees of freedom. Apart from that, we don't have. I mean, we only go with the assumption in simulation software that we have 6 degrees of freedom.
Okay, thanks. So there is one more query, very basic. What is a finite element in finite element analysis? What is finite element?
Right. The name, as the name itself suggests, the moment we get a CAD model, we call it as an infinite model, where that's what in the slide which I shown. Wait a second. I'll just go back to that slide. Right. So this is a typical CAD model we get. This has no meshing. This is an infinite model. When we split that, we split that into finite number of parts, and these called as elements, and the elements are connected at a point called nodes. So that is why we call it as finite element model, FE model. We have sizable or accountable or number of parts, the same plate which has been divided into small parts, so that the calculation will happen at that each individual point. That's why we call it as finite element.
Okay, your slide was not visible. So Baswa, can you share your screen? I will stop sharing. Yeah, so yes.
Can I see the slide, sir, now?
Yes, we can see. Mohammed, this is the slide where finite element was explained.
Right. So this is an infinite model, as I said, which doesn't have any elements or nodes. This has been divided into finite elements. That's why it is called as finite element model.
Okay, I hope that, okay, dynamic is finite study can be carried out.
Absolutely, we can also carry a dynamic analysis. This example, what I shown today is a typical linear static simulation where the loads are not changing with respect to time. Okay, so we go with an assumption that the material is isotropic and also the loads are not changing with respect to time. When the load changes with respect to time, so that is automatically that comes under dynamic simulation. So in the case, if you have any loads which are changing with respect to time, that can only be simulated via dynamic analysis.
Just one more question: is only CAD models are used?
Absolutely. Without CAD model, no, we cannot proceed.
I think that he might be what asking CBCT. Yes, we can do the FEM analysis with CBCT as well, but we have to convert into a CAD model, which is in technical terms is called CAD, and then we go for finite element model, and then it goes to finite element analysis. I hope I would have cleared the question, and if anybody else is still name any software which can get free.
Yes, there are many open source softwares are available. You can try explore, but yeah, the options and the options will be very limited. The capabilities will be limited. So these are all so-called popular softwares which costs humongous. Like each software may cost you around 25 to 30 lakhs. So as an individual, no one can invest. So as an institution, certainly they can make an invest and do a research studies on this. See, the advantage of FEA simulation is that you can do n number of iterations on the same model by changing the material, by changing the design. So you can do a lot of iterations without wasting the resources. So this is a lifetime investment what you make for a software, and it takes care of these design research activities.
AI can be applied from Dr. Prashant. There is a question. AI can be applied to finite study.
I'm not sure in what perspective. Yeah, maybe I'm not aware of that applications. Yeah, in the sense the automations can be done in the process, like importing the CAD model, carrying out a meshing with a particular type of elements, then setting up the boundary conditions. These things can be automated, but I'm not sure whether it is called an AI or not.
Okay, thanks. So, folks, if there are any more questions, then please come up. Okay, please name any common software that institute can buy.
So, HyperWorks is the one you can try, and the best part is, as a student, as a academic people, you get a free license. You need to go and check their official websites where you can get a student version license. I think that is more than enough for your research work. You can go to ANSYS website, you can go to Altair HyperWorks website. You will get a student version for free of cost. Of course, it will have a limitations in terms of node lock in the sense your model cannot have 10,000 elements or 15,000 elements. Beyond that, it will not solve. So some node lock versions will be available for free of cost. You can explore.
Okay, so I think if there are not much queries, so I would just like to say thanks to all of you, and I would also ask everyone, whoever have attended this session, can you please just provide your feedback on the same our link. There is a feedback form. So just provide your feedback so that we can share your certificate of participation into FEM analysis workshop. So you can go to our website and share your feedback.
I would like to say a few words, by the end of the session. Like, thank you very much for our advisory panel for taking time for us. Thank you very much for the editorial group. Thank you very much for the wonderful audience who took time for us from their busy schedule. And do please share your feedback too. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks everybody for joining this session. Thanks a lot for your time. And I hope that as per your feedback, we'll be coming up with more sessions on this and will be helping to all scholars into dental who are looking for dental FEM analysis, whether it's static or dynamic. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rajesh, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.